Lane majority.
Thank you, Council President. Lane majority, Hoboken resident. First opportunity to use an easel in front of this panel.
Exciting.
At the last meeting, Councilman Mello used his time during new business to condemn the placement of his name in the annual mock City Council cemetery at the Russo Haunted House. Now, this Halloween tradition takes aim at all members of this council in fun and has for years. The councilman was mortified by this, repeatedly calling it inappropriate, and was angered by the thought that somehow if his young daughter, who was lovely, had seen this display, she might actually have thought her father was no longer among the living. Councilman Mello's allies on this council supported him in his outrage. Well, Councilman, if that display outraged you, I want to know what you think of something one of your political allies did to two members of this council. This graphic was created by Nancy Pincus for her political attack blog, which she uses to lash out at any citizen who dares to disagree with Mayor Dawn Zimmer and her allies on the council and the Board of Education. Pincus is a sworn public official serving on the zoning board thanks to Mayor Zimmer and the former majority on this council. The Pincus designed graphic appeared on her blog as well as other blogs which have been specifically set up to promote this mayor's agenda. You may recall how she also put the faces of members of an opposing Board of Ed slate in a punch bowl full of human excrement. This time, though, she went beyond fecal matter and went for full-on fascist imagery. Take a look at this graphic of council members Mason and Acapinti. Does it look familiar to you? Maybe if you took some college history courses about World War II? Nancy Pincus has likened the first elected Jewish councilwoman in Hoboken history to a Nazi and replaced a swastika with the head of our newly elected councilman. Her graphic uses images and font from Triumph of the Will, a Nazi propaganda film created by Leni Riefenstahl in 1934. This film includes speeches from Nazi leaders, most notably Adolf Hitler. Triumph of the Will is one of the best-known examples of government propaganda in film history and paved the way for the Holocaust that followed Hitler's rise to power. Now, as the grandson of a first-generation American Jew who enlisted in the U.S. Army to fight the Nazis and liberate concentration camps, I am personally offended by this display. As a friend of Councilwoman Mason, her husband, and two young daughters, Councilman Mello, I am angered and disgusted by it. Hoboken political campaigns are known for being intense, but there are certain topics which should never be used as political ammunition. Nazi Germany and the Holocaust should be among them. This conduct is unbecoming of a representative of the Hoboken Zoning Board and an elected member of the Hoboken Municipal Democratic Organization, for which Councilman Bala is the chairman. Regardless of one's political beliefs in Hoboken, this behavior must be condemned. If you are unhappy about the haunted house, Councilman Mello, what do you think about this? And more importantly, what are you going to do about it? You are concerned about your daughter. How do you think Councilwoman Mason's daughters reacted to this on the internet? This is not satire. This isn't springtime for Hitler. This is hatred. This is how down and low certain members of the Zimmer team have taken the political discourse in Hoboken, and it has to stop. Only you can stop it. Nancy Pincus is as close to the mayor and her council allies as anyone in Hoboken. She designed Mike Lenz's campaign flyers. She has done the same for Kids First and for the mayor. She is currently designing Councilman Peter Cunningham's re-election campaign website. Councilman Cunningham, what do you say about the way your friend and webmaster is representing you here now? Do you condone this kind of fascist imagery? Is this appropriate in your mind to the political discourse in Hoboken? Councilman Bala, Ms. Pincus is part of your majority in the Hoboken Democratic Committee. Is she representing you and your committee in this manner, like this? Council President Marsh, in 2005, you were highly offended when Dave Roberts sent out a political flyer likening you to Newt Gingrich. Now, your ally compares Ms. Mason to Hitler. What say you now about this? And oh, by the way, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The amount of anger and hatred directed at the members of this council and private citizens online who dare to disagree with this administration is beyond all common decency, and it should be condemned by this council. Nancy Pincus is unfit to serve in any official appointed capacity representing the city of Hoboken. So I ask each and every one of you, individually right now, are you prepared to condemn this kind of fascist attack on your colleagues? Or will you continue to stand silent as your ally, Council President Marsh? Your ally, Councilman Cunningham, Bala, and Mello, continues to do this on a daily basis. I think all good people of Hoboken should stand up and condemn Nancy Pincus for what she is. She is a disgrace.
Council President, I am going to say something briefly. Mr. Majority, thank you for bringing that to my attention. As you mentioned, both Councilwoman Mason's children and my child, and since I am somebody who will someday have to sit down with my daughter's mother and explain why her great-grandfather's relatives stopped returning letters at some point during the Holocaust when they were trying to get them over to this country, I certainly don't in any way approve of any connections between leaders in our Hoboken community and anybody that was part of the Third Reich. So I will certainly reach out to Ms. Pincus. This is the first I'm aware of this graphic. I will certainly tell her that I disagree with that as much as I've disagreed with any other display in the public. I don't think it's appropriate, and as somebody whose family shares heritage that Councilwoman Mason's family does, and blood that runs through my daughter's veins, I will certainly share my distaste for that particular graphic.
Thank you, Councilman.
Council President, I just want to echo Councilman Mello's comments. I'm very saddened by these photographs or pictures. I've never seen them before, and I'm terribly disappointed.
Council President, this is the first seeing of these images, and if everything you're saying is correct, I'm not familiar with the triumph with Willens, but the correlation is obvious in terms of so-called satirical correlation, and it's offensive. And it should be condemned. So, although I have a lot in common with Ms. Pincus with respect to city issues, I think this crosses a line. She has the right to express herself under our Constitution, and you have every right to say it's offensive. So this is just a part of a process of debate and dialogue. But I will say for the record that if assuming everything you're saying is correct, I have no reason not to believe you, it is offensive. I apologize.
I have nothing to add, but I agree. I've never seen this before, and I do intend to reach out to Ms. Pincus and find out what she was thinking. Thank you. Dick England?
President,
Russo?
if I may, I'm absolutely appalled by the images that were brought before this council. Corporation Council, if you would please research what this council's right is pertaining to an appointed and quasi-elected official in the city and removing that person for such acts. This has happened all across the country. We have school board members who made anti-gay remarks. Now we have a zoning board member making anti-Semitic remarks or showing anti-Semitic images. It needs to be nipped in the bud immediately. And I would like a full briefing on how, in fact, this council can remove her from the zoning board.
I certainly have no problem with doing so. However, you need to obviously be cognizant of this person's First Amendment right to do and say what she wishes within the bounds of a hate crime. Certainly is not something that anyone wants to condone. But it is a very slippery slope because when you start going down that road, there's a lot of other things that, while maybe offensive to any one member, can be brought in front of this body and ask for these people, any individual to be removed. This is clearly something that is disturbing on many, many levels, and I'm certainly happy to look into that issue for the council.